And no half stepping with Marcus J. We got Big Rube over here losing his mind. He don't realize I ain't turned his mic on yet. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're back from our break, and we're going to take this opportunity to get into the National Football League. There's a lot of games this weekend, of course. Yeah, I'm not going to cue up the NFL music. I've been playing it all season long. I didn't get no feedback on it, so I'm done with that. I was playing it for people. Nobody said nothing about it. I was playing. Well, I won't call out the four-letter network, none of them people. But I was playing the songs, Rube. You heard it.
I mean, you can't get mad because nobody said anything.
I'm just saying, man. I worked hard on that concept. But anyway, National Football League, the AFC, their playoff picture was set early, Big Rube. And I tell you, one game that was somewhat intriguing because it did, as far as, well, let me back up. When I said that the AFC picture was set, the teams were set.
Yep.
The seeding wasn't necessarily set. And there was one game that in particular that a lot of the sports world had their eye on, and that was the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Houston Texans. Take it away.
Man, the Texans flamed out stronger than anybody I ever know. Hey, we going to go 13-0. Wait a minute. No, we're not. They lose 2 of their last 3 games, end up losing their number 1 seed. They fell from a 1 to a 3. And now they got to play next week.
Yep.
All they had to do was win and they win.
Almost had an opportunity to stay home.
Home for the whole playoffs, and then they lost and they done. And now they get the team nobody really wants to play, Cincinnati Bengals. And nah.
He's still calling them who that?
Nah, man.
They the original
team,
that.
man.
Yeah, but we're not calling them
Nobody
that.
cares
But
about
they
that,
the
man.
original.
Okay, but
They're
we're not going to call them
but
who
they're
that.
the original suckers too.
Yeah, we're not going to call them who
beside
that.
the point. Well, but Texans got them next week, and good luck with that. Me, I contributed all to them deciding not to use their all-pro running back, Arian Foster, for the last 4 weeks, period. He had 96 yards yesterday, but realistically, this dude's been averaging 100 yards, and all the excuses I get from people, well, they're just saving him for the playoffs. How about you saved him, and now you got to play in the first round of playoffs? Good luck.
Colin Banks, did you have an opportunity to watch any of the Indianapolis versus Houston game?
All I gotta say is this: did you see that the kickoff return?
Yeah, right in the middle. It's
Right
beautiful.
in the middle.
Didn't touch. Nobody touched
him. How you stay in between the hash marks and you run a touchdown back?
You know what
I ain't
that
never
is?
seen that before in my life.
That's called lack of focus. That's called the head coach had lack of focus on his team. They blew the bunny.
Teams coach.
I mean, the head coach runs special team coach.
No, see, there you go.
It is what it is, man. How many kickoff returns do you ever see like that?
I've never seen one like that. That's
Exactly.
why I'm asking.
That's what I'm saying. It's called lack of mental preparedness.
That's the special teams coach. That ain't on the head coach.
I mean, head coach hired him.
Well, I feel bad. Well, I should say I feel bad, but I mean to see, I guess, the drop that they going from 1 to 3. The Houston fans, after having been told for most of the season that they were the best team, or one of the best teams in the league, and for them to have that kind of drop over the last few games of the season, is somewhat shocking. I mean, hopefully it doesn't affect them too much. Me personally, having to buy in the playoffs is nice, but I don't necessarily think that it's a necessity. In the 2 giant Super Bowl runs in the last few years, both times we somewhat stumbled into the playoffs and then had a nice, decent run, of course, playing in that first week. So, and oftentimes you see the teams, they get the buys, they either lose or they don't look too great in that first week. So I don't know that it's that much of a bad thing. They will host a playoff game. Could be worse.
Well, the biggest thing about it is you basically single-handedly gave the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL, who has a good team around him, a home way through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Peyton Manning in Denver? Yeah, somebody's going to the Super Bowl, and it's probably a Bronco.
And speaking of Peyton Manning, he had a hell of a game yesterday, as he has been for most of the season. A steady 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, as the Broncos just destroyed the Kansas City Chiefs, of course, leading to the firing today of their head coach, Romeo Crennel. Colin, I'm going to come to you on this one. Peyton, of course, didn't play last year. He had the neck issues, and we were somewhat concerned about his health coming into this season. What are your thoughts on now he's played a whole full season? Doesn't really matter what team he played it on, but he's played a whole full season. He had he started off somewhat slow, but then he right around mid-season, he started looking like the Peyton Manning that we saw last 2 years ago.
Yo, he's a beast. The man is an artist. I love watching him play. I love him being out there confusing the defense and the defense trying to confuse him, and he just picks the defense apart.
Right.
How you win 11 straight games?
I don't know. I don't know about that, but you know what else is crazy about that game, Big Rube? Broncos beat the Chiefs 38-3, and Brady Quinn of the Chiefs was 7 of 16. Forget this, 49 yards. That's an absolute disgrace.
Because Brady Quinn's whack.
Yeah, but I mean, a starting NFL quarterback finishes the game. He played 4 quarters and finishes the game with 49 yards. Really?
Whack.
Really? I can't get no excitement out of you guys on 49 yards for real.
I mean, that's terrible. We all know Brady Quinn sucks.
Yeah, he sucked. He sucked when he was in college.
I mean, he wasn't good in college.
Yeah. Well,
but he's from Notre Dame.
We see the Patriots continue their route. They go crazy and
blanked
28-0. And of course, Tom Brady is doing what he normally does. Of course, the Chargers 7-9 in the season with a victory at home against the Raiders. And then, of course, what do they do today?
They fired their coach.
They fired their coach, Norv Turner, who I think he was.
But
in
they
San
already
Diego.
talked about that.
Yeah,
he was done.
We knew it was going to happen. He had been there, for a few
8
years.
games ago.
But you know what else? It had been a while. But I just never really drank the Norv Turner as a head coach Kool-Aid. I mean, it's a guy who seems better suited to be an offensive coordinator, and I've heard some rumblings of him popping up in that position somewhere in the league next season. But he's out of the head coaching job.
There are a couple teams who would use him.
Bring him back to Dallas.
I knew somebody I was about to say need to go to Dallas. But
Yeah. So what do you guys think of the Steelers finishing at 500, 8-8, 24-10 victory over Cleveland?
They played Cleveland.
Yeah.
Well, they played the Browns, basement team.
If Grizzly was here today, I'd laugh in his face.
Yeah. Well, we may see him at some point.
And I'll still laugh.
But unfortunately, unless he gets here before 8 o'clock, he's not getting a word in on his beloved Steelers. Let's go ahead. Nothing else really going on. The Jaguars, I believe, they fired their coach as well today.
Why are we talking about that?
Yeah, well, we're going around the league. Jaguars fired their coach 38-20 loss. They finished the season 2-14. And then, of course, Baltimore sliding into the playoffs. Of course, they had the big victory last week against the Giants, and we thought they would do better than to score only 17 points against a Bengal team.
They pulled their stars out in the second quarter.
So is that what their deal was?
Yeah. Tyron Taylor got in and got a good.
They pulled out Ray Rice, and they pulled out. I wish I was elite.
What's the guy's name?
I don't even know his name right now.
Yeah. Well, AFC, as you can see, does not elicit a lot of passion out of the crew here on Ain't No House Steppin, Marcus J. So what I want to do is just go ahead and jump from the AFC to the NFC, which of course is our home conference, and I'll start it off with the New York Football Giants, who had not scored more than 14 points in the previous 2 games. And then they come out yesterday in utter destruction. Now let me paint a picture for you, because I'm sitting there and I'm watching this game. And I'm pissed. You would think that you would watch your team and be happy about what you're seeing with your team, Carlton, right? Would that be a logical question?
Beyond logical.
Logical, right. So I'm watching this game, right? And I'm thinking about 3 weeks ago when the Giants scored 52 points. Scored 52 points 3 weeks ago. I'm like, word, 52 points. All right, my team finally breaks, the second half curse, and they're gonna do some stuff. And then your man Marcus J in the building with K Dub in Atlanta, and they get their ass kicked and they don't score. Okay, they don't score. They don't score, Big Rube. So you say to yourself, all right, they didn't score. They still at this point control their own playoff destiny, right? Am I accurate so far, Big Rube?
Yep,
all right. And then the following week, which was last Sunday, I'm in New Jersey with the fam. I had a chance to watch this game with Pop, right? I don't get to watch football with my Pop. So I'm giddy about getting to watch football with Pop, watching the game. And they get their ass kicked again. This time they scored 14. They scored 14 against Baltimore. Right? So now there is no more controlling your own destiny. Now you got to beat the Eagles. You got to see Chicago lose. You got to see Minnesota lose, and you got to see Dallas either lose or tie. You need a lot of help. So I'm watching this game, and I see them come out, and the first thing you see is the Eagles onside kick. I'm like, oh, shoot, here we go.
That was great.
I was like, oh, here we go.
That was beautiful.
I was like,
Andy Reid had nothing to lose.
He had nothing to lose.
He had nothing to lose. I said, here we go. I said, the Giants going to look. They're going to get embarrassed. They're going to get embarrassed at home against the Eagles in the final game of Andy Reid's career coaching in Philadelphia. But, of course, doesn't work out that way. And the Giants, of course, they just keep on scoring. I think they scored on their first 4 possessions or something like that. And they beat the hell out the Eagles. I mean, they beat the hell out the Eagles. Now, I'm not one for rooting for somebody else's team. I don't do that. I let the chips fall where they may because I just don't root for other people's team. It just don't feel right. I don't root for the Jets just because they play in the area I grew up. I don't root for the Mets. And I sure as hell don't root for the team that comes from the borough that Jay-Z come from. So I wasn't sitting on my couch looking for the Chicago Bears to help us out. I just, you got to control your own destiny.
You mean not the Chicago Bears?
The Detroit Lions. I'm sorry. Chicago Bears help us out by losing the game. Thank you, Carl, for correcting me, which obviously it didn't happen. But here's the funniness, Big Bro. As I'm watching the Giants rout the Eagles, halfway through the game, I see Kurt Menefee pop up on my screen and say, yeah, the Giants are handling their business. We're going to go to a more competitive game. And they turn my game off. They turned my game off. The last game, which appears at this point because I knew the Bears were winning. So what appeared to be the last game that I'm going to get to watch of the Giants until the preseason in freaking August, they cut it off. So, of course, I had the NFL package on my cell phone, so I was able to watch it. But anyway, I ain't going to rant too much more. Eli Manning throws 5 touchdowns for the first time in his career. Big whoop. Big whoop. The thing with him is when the lights go on, he usually does pretty well. But he's had 2 seasons.
He's a great fantasy quarterback.
He's had 2 seasons in the last couple of years where he absolutely stunk up the gym, and this year was one of them. And Mrs. J actually said to me yesterday as I moped around the house because I was pissed. I mean, I'm watching my team blow somebody out, and it was annoying the hell out of me because I'm like, where the hell were you guys? The last couple of weeks.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if you watch the Giants play, it a lot of it was because the Eagles had packed it in. They just mailed it in. But the Giants had a look about them yesterday that you just haven't seen in the last couple of weeks.
Fighting for their playoffs live.
But I'm like, what the hell, man? Where's this team been for the last few weeks? And every time they scored a point, it was almost like the Eagles were scoring. I was getting madder and madder and madder.
Who is it?
Ruben Randall.
Really? He scored 2 touchdowns?
He scored 2 touchdowns.
Where is that dude the whole season?
Ruben Randall. I mean, he's had his moments.
Yeah, he showed it that
first
1 week.
Touchdowns
well, it was the first time he had scored 2 touchdowns in a game.
Right.
Yeah, but
it wasn't his first 2. Well, he's had his moments, but Hakeem Nicks, if you notice, didn't play. That's why Ruben was out there so much. So, but the point is, the Giants' offense going to be all right. The offense going to be all right. In spite of the fact they scored 14 points in 2 games against 2 teams they could have done some damage against, not really worried so much about their offense. It's the defense. Like, really? Corey Webster was getting torched. And people can talk about him all he wants. Corey Webster's had a fine career playing corner for the Giants for the last several years. He's been on 2 Super Bowl winning teams. He's our cover corner. He just had, sometimes cats go into slums, Rube, and he definitely went into one because he got torched, particularly against Baltimore when you making Joe Flacco out there look like Drew Brees. It was bad.
I'm sorry, we gotta take blame for that because we exploited him in the second game that we played y'all, and that's when he started his slump. He got beat a couple times by Garcon, and it was just a bad day. My fault.
Yeah. Well, here you go, talking trash. Big
I'm
Rube.
not talking trash. I was just saying I apologize.
Leave it to Big Rube. Now,
I apologize.
As far as that, the Giants win the game and they go into the locker room. 3 minutes later, they find out that the Chicago Bears had won the game. Not really into the Bears. I mean, you watch that game. They won by 2. They crept in.
Bears.
Just barely won the game, which leads us to America's game of the week, the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Green Bay Packers. Now, this might have been the best game of the week. This might have been one of the best games we've seen in a couple of weeks. This was a dogfight. This was a dogfight. Now, I'm one of those people. I'm on record. I did not want to see Adrian Peterson get Eric Dickerson's record.
Why not?
I don't know why. I don't have a reason.
You by yourself on that.
Eric Dickerson is a punk, yo.
It was just.
I ain't gonna say he's a punk, really, but he's a.
Watch that 30 on 30 about SMU. You will have a completely different understanding about Eric Dickerson after that.
I mean, I don't have no dog in that race. One of my best friends is a Minnesota Vikings fan, and that's for you, PB. I hope you're listening. And I don't really like that he likes the Minnesota Vikings. It annoys the hell out of me that he's from Jersey City and likes the Vikings. So I root against them.
Is he suffering the MBD?
Yeah,
or
he
would
does.
be MBM?
Yeah, MBM, yeah. He's suffering the MBM. Why don't you tell the listeners what that means?
If you go on our fan page, there's a video. I guess one of the Redskins commentators or whatever made this video called MBD syndrome. It's never been to Dallas, and it's basically about all the Dallas fans in our area who like Dallas, but they never been, and so we're pretty much trying to take up a fund to send them to Dallas so they can say they've been there. now I know Banks has been there.
Yes,
so,
he has.
So
yes,
so
he
Banks.
has. So we can't
joke. We can't joke on Banks. We can't joke on Banks on that.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of Cowboys fans who suffer from MBD.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess your boys suffer from MBM.
Yeah, I love him. My best friend. He and K-Dub and I grew up together, so I hope he doesn't mind. I'm picking on him on the air. He's called in the show a few times, but I've always picked on him. But he, in defense of my man PB, he's been a Minnesota Vikings fan since the Warren Moon days. He was his favorite player, so that's the reason why he rooted for him. So I'm happy for my boy that they won, but that was one of the games that I needed to see to go. Hold
on. You said Minnesota Vikings and Warren Moon.
Yeah, Warren Moon played for the Vikings.
No, he played for the Houston Oilers.
And then he played for the Vikings.
He played for the Vikings for like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
and he was
he played for the Vikings, man. Don't try to correct me and then be wrong. He played for the Vikings, man. Doesn't matter how long. Shoot, I mean, you can say that you a Knicks fan because Mutombo played there for a year. Then what's the difference? But the point is, that's why he was a fan of the team. But anyway, of course, the Vikings win, and that causes Lovie Smith to get fired in Chicago after a 10-6 season. Had a bunch of division, well, not a bunch, but he won the division, went to the Super Bowl, had what appeared to be a decent career up there in Chicago, and he gets canned. He's another one of those coaches that got canned up there. So Big Ruby's showing me something. I got a little bit distracted just there for a moment. But anyway, after that game, there was a game that was played at 8:30 last night. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But I do have a question. I'm going to come to you on this one first, Carlton Banks. We got 3 leading candidates, and I'm going to thank Hakeem because this is Hakeem's question. We got 3 leading candidates for Rookie of the Year, and I know who I think those 3 are. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Who do you think those 3 leading candidates are, and who do you think is the winner of the Rookie of the Year? I'm gonna come to you first, Carl.
Well, it's gonna be a co-Rookie of the Year. It's gonna be Luck and RG2, and the co-runner-up would be the third place guy should be Alfred Morris. After that, then if the West Coast played in its market better, Russell Wilson gets my vote.
Yeah, I mean Russell Wilson. Well, he's from Richmond, so you can, we got a kinship to him because he's from our hood.
Man, he went to collegiate.
Yeah, but he's from Richmond. You give him some love, but I don't think there's any way that it's not RG3. Me personally, Andrew Luck had a good season. If you look at the numbers are comparable. But at the end of the day, while it may or may not be fair, a lot of it has to do not only with the play on the field, but the impact that you have over the league. Now, it's going to be a tighter race because all 3 guys made the playoffs. If you had 1 or 2 of those guys not make the playoffs, then that one guy who did make it would be a little bit more obvious. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Big Rube. I think I can guess who you think would be the Rookie of the Year. I think you got Carlton over here saying it's going to be Co with Luck and RG3. I say RG3 solely. What is your thoughts?
I wanted to be RG3, I it's hard. I would probably go more with a co luck because a co with luck because as much as RG3 did for a part of a location, Andrew Luck did the same thing. The only difference is Andrew Luck got a wild card and RG3 has an NFC East championship. But when it's all said and done, we can't forget, unfortunately, that Colts won 2 games last year.
Yeah.
And they won 11 this year.
Yeah.
The second time for the second biggest turnaround in NFL history.
Yeah. And that's
in
large part. Yeah.
No, that's due to luck.
That's due to luck. Yeah.
There's no question about that.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J 804-447-0601. Call us up. Rep your squad. It's New Year's Eve, and we're in the building. It's live. I want to give another. I got another hit from Hakeem. He's telling me to chill out. He's from Chilltown, which is what those of us from Jersey City, we call it Chilltown, which is my hood. He's also a Vikings fan. Started liking him when he was 12 because he liked defense, and they had the best defense in the league back then. Their defense used to score more points than the offense. Purple people eaters. I never knew that. I've known Hakeem for 20 years. I've never known that. Dude, I never knew you was a Viking fan. You and your man, I hope you know PB. That's Damon. So that's, so the two of you need to holler at him because you two got a lot to talk about. So ain't no hashtag with Marcus J. The last thing I want to get in on before we take a quick break and then go to what we really want to get into for the rest of the 7 o'clock hour, which is the Cowboys and the Redskins game last night. Big Group's happy about that. Last thing I want to get into before I actually do that is the firing of the general manager for the Jets, Mike Tannenbaum. It's about time. A lot of people thought that Rex Ryan was going to get the axe as well, but the Jets very well could be the worst put together team in the league. I just don't know what the hell the guy's thinking, and it's a good thing that he's gone. I don't know who's going to replace him, but anybody would be better than that guy, Big Rope.
Surprisingly, Tony Soprano still has a job.
Soprano.
Who cares? He's fat and terrible.
He got fired.
No, not yet.
No,
not yet. He probably will be. We'll find out his thing tomorrow. But yeah, 7 coaches, 5 general managers. It ain't safe no more.
They all got to go. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. We're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna finish up the National Football League. We're gonna get into the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins, and we're gonna really quickly look at the playoff picture for next Sunday and next Saturday. Marcus J. and I'll step me be back in a minute.
What's going on, world? This is King calling from Chilltown, Jersey City, New Jersey. And you're listening to the best talk show out there on the internet. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. on Global